Welcome to Lean Coffee. My name is Avella Spiritu, and I'll be your facilitator for this session. And the Edmonton Lean Community of Practice hosts these Lean Coffee sessions on the third Friday of every month from September through June. They usually run at 9 o'clock on the dot. So today we're running a little bit late, and we go to about 10-ish. We do this in person, but for the rest of this season, we're going to be doing this virtually like so. And these sessions are where lean practitioners from our local community meet to discuss various lean issues. And we do it through a structured yet agendaless process where the attendees decide on the topic and the conversations of the day. Now, some housekeeping stuff here for our session is that our next Lean Coffee will be May 20th. Please save the date in your calendar. Join our LinkedIn page, which I'll share the links later in the session to learn about this next upcoming topic, but it will be called Prepare to Share. Okay, all will be welcome from beginners to lean experts. There are no expectations to participation. Some people come to every meeting, others come when they can, but we love it no matter what. Before we begin, I thought we'd just kind of do a quick round circle just to see who's here. Please introduce yourself and your company, and an icebreaker could be something like, where did you last eat out? Right, I'll begin. So again, my name is Abel. I'm with Red 5. I'm a lean coach and consultant, and I'm part of the Lean Community of Practice Steering Committee. The last place I ate out was Faro for downtown dining here in Edmonton. I had the Stonair, which is like a donair meat with Doritos between two waffles. Strangely very yummy. And I'll pass the baton to Brian.
I'm Brian McEachran from PCL, and last place I ate out a week. Oh, we probably ordered pizza on the weekend. I think that's probably the last thing that I ate out at.
Who are you gonna pass it on to next, Brian?
Karen.
Morning, everyone. I'm Karen Muir. I'm with RPK Architects. And yeah, the last restaurant I ate at was Tony's Pizza Palace. Awesome pizza. So I'm going to pass it on to Christina.
Christina lost her voice.
Christina lost her voice. Okay, well, Shannon just turned on her camera, so I'll pass it on to Shannon then.
Hi, I'm Shannon Warner with Fox Engineering. The last place I ate out was the Next Act because they have great gluten-free stuff, and I now have 2 celiac children. So I had the PB&J burger, which to me is not as good as some of their other burgers, though. I was disappointed. It was good, but it was not as good as some of their other burgers. And I'm jealous of the Tonys. We can't go there anymore. I will turn it over to Christina?
Oh, she lost her voice.
Oh, that's Christina. Okay, I'm just next here. Eric Moon.
Hello, I'm Eric Moon from Gem Cabinets. I'm a process coordinator there with Christina. And the last place I ate out was Campio downtown. I had it was like a spicy pizza of some description. It was very good.
Nice.
I will pass it off to Sarah.
Hi, Sarah with Ideal. The last place I ate out was also Tony's Pizza on my birthday, which is April Fool's Day. And thank you. Nobody pranked me. It was best birthday ever. And I've been going to Tony since I was like an infant. So yeah, it was awesome to go back. Next up, Shafraz.
Thanks, Sarah. I am Shafraz Kaba from Ask for a Better World. Last place I ate was last week, also downtown dining week at the Black Pearl for oysters.
Nice. We should go next, Shafraz.
Oh my gosh. Dom. Long time no see, Dom.
Long time no see. I'm back in the real world, which is good. After a little detour in oil and gas, which was not for me, but that's okay. I'm Dominic. I'm new to Graham, but happy to be around and back in this world. Last place I ate was on the weekend was at Glass Monkey, and we did something that I hadn't done in a long time. We ordered a whole bunch of things and we shared amongst people. So it was awesome. I got to taste a little bit of everything and drink some good beer with some good company.
Nice. Who should go next, Don? You have
We got James Burnett.
great. Go for James.
Hey, James Burnett. Let's see, I'm from PCL superintendent. As embarrassing as it sounds, because it's gross, but last time I ate out would have been McDonald's in Slave Lake on Monday morning on my way out to site.
Nice. Thanks for the honesty, James. That's awesome.
Classy.
I know. Can't get no
We got like
better
oysters and pizza and McDonald's.
You
Love
upside
it.
fries though. That's
Oh, it was in the morning, so I had McMuffins, the BLT McMuffin.
nice. And I think the last person we have, last but not least, is Sylvia. Sylvia, where did you last eat out?
Hi, Sylvia, PCL. I'm kind of spoiled. The last time I ate out was in New York at a place called Los Tacos, which was a few days before the exploding manhole incident there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Really making that McDonald's sound good, eh? Oysters, New York, McDonald's.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for going through that little bit of icebreaker there. So just a little bit about this. So this is an agendaless and structured meeting. So we don't know what we're going to be talking about. Y'all are going to be creating this topic for us, and we are going to brainstorm some ideas. So I'm just going to kind of go through a little bit. We're going to be going on the Miro board, which I'll be sharing here in a second, but you're going to create topics, and we're going to vote on these topics as well too. And as we vote on these topics, the topics with the highest number of votes are the ones that we're going to decide on talking, and I'll put that forward, and I'll put a timer on for about 5 minutes, and we're going to be talking freely, collaboratively about that particular topic. Everyone, please feel free to be at Canadian Thanksgiving and just kind of talk over one another, but the person who started the topic will kind of kick it off to begin with. After the 5 minutes is up, we'll go through like a thumbs up on the video, or use the reactions, thumbs up, or put hearts up on the screen, what have you. And I'll make a decision of whether it looks like we got a lot of people want to keep talking about it, and I'll put another 3 minutes on the clock. And we'll keep doing that, voting after the timers goes up until it looks like no one wants to talk about it, and we'll move on to the next one. And we'll rinse and repeat that all the way through until either we run out of time or we run out of topics. If at that point, we're going to leave a little bit of time left to go through some plus deltas. And here's where, we're going to do some sharing. What was good about this session? What was not good about the session? What do we want to start doing or stop doing? And we'll do a quick share about that. And then we'll run through some links that I'll share in the chat, and then clap hands and we'll be complete. Now, if anyone's used Miro board, which I'll be sharing here in a second, when we do the Miro board voting, you're going to go on the Miro board to create topics, but when we vote, you're going to be able to use the radio buttons to sit there and select to vote on the topics. You can stack your votes. You're going to get 3 votes, and you can stack them on one particular topic, or you can move them around. If you ended up, adjusting your votes, like, hey, I like this topic better, you can use the plus minus button to sit there and adjust it. And for whatever reason, if you lose it, you can always go back to the Miro board. There's a little double dash, and you can hit the voting thing to get back into the voting session. And that's how we're going to be voting on these using the Miro board. Okay, Dick. So I'm going to make the mirror board live here, and we're going to get this started. Now I'll make sure I got the right one. Here we go. And I'll bring everyone to me. On your screen, on the Teams app, you should be able to see the mirror board. At this point, you can start creating topics just by pressing the button here and create a topic. I'm going to put a timer on here for about, I'll say 5 minutes. And the price of admission, you can even start creating topics right now. Anything and everything to do with lean, or if there's a particular challenge that you know, hey, I really like to get some collaborative help on, or you know, do I think the Oilers are going to make the playoffs, or lean in construction, or lean not in construction, what have you. There's a diverse enough people here that we can probably talk anything through, to be quite honest. Or if we want to dive a little bit deeper into why James went to McDonald's and not someplace else, I mean, that's also up for grabs.
There's not too many options in Slave Lake on your way out.
The price of admission, though, is one topic up for discussion. And if you don't have a voice, you know, put something in the chat. We can create the Kanban cards for you if you're having some technical hijinks accessing the mirror board. Looks like there's some good topics being generated here so far. Stuff like some surprising wins. What are people having to do to adjust to lean in a hybrid workplace? Slow down to go fast. How to pause and think strategically. Tips on promoting trade partners to buy into lean practices. Nice. Again, I use this moment here to do a shout out to our sponsor. Our home base of operations is the Edmonton Construction Association, and typically when we meet in person, if we're not kind of you know, embedded on site someplace, we're usually going to meet there. And you know, ECA does a whole lot of different stuff in the Edmonton region, but one of the things that maybe people don't know is they have really awesome printing services that are super cheap and cost effective. Go see Dave down in the basement and he'll set you up. I'll put a link in the chat there for any and all your printing needs. Go see. So about 1 minute left here. looks like everyone's put everything that they're going to be putting in. So I'll stop the timer and I'll go to our voting section. So I'm going to set up the voting here. And what's going to be, you're going to be given an option to vote on all the cards, and you're going to be given 3 votes. And you can stack your votes on one thing, or you can, you know, spread them out evenly. It's up to you. You can be strategic about it, and we'll start our voting and begin. And you'll have an option to join the voting session. You just hit the join, and then you can hit the radio buttons to sit there and vote on certain things. Now the top one, I took it out of the voting one because I executive decision that I'm going to be talking about that one first.
Yeah, Val, maybe it's just me, but I can't read all of the words in each of the boxes.
Oh, so in the voting thing, you're not given the option to sit there and expand it out, but normally when it's not voted, you can select the box and you can expand it out. But one of the ones is, what are people having to do differently for a hybrid environment? Slow down to work fast, tips on promoting trade partners, tips on training new people. And we're just about done for voting here. Just need one more person to do all their votes, and I'll end it for everyone. Cool. Let's see. I'll tally up the votes. Awesome. So I'll reorder this and we'll begin our session. All right, so executive decision about the surprising wins, but we're going to be talking about what are people having to do to adjust to a lean hybrid workplace, followed by tips on training new members, tips on promoting trade partners, and what are some resources and getting more tractions with lean, slow down to go fast, and so on. So the first one is, I'll put this here to talking, is surprising wins. So provide an amazing tool like Miro board. Whose topic was this one?
That was mine.
Okay, if you can introduce the topic, Sarah, and then we'll begin talking about it.
Sure. So I kind of wanted to share a win first off, but also hear other people's wins. So mine was our project managers in commercial have been trying desperately for, oh God, years now to find a way to easily see, you know, where all of our workers are, what kind of, like what part of the drywall trade they specialize in, if they're mentors or they're apprentices, if they have tools, you know, a whole bunch of manpower info. They created a Google Sheets spreadsheet that is pretty cumbersome and like it's color coded, so it's kind of, you know, Kanban-y, but not super user friendly. And you know, they've been working on trying to make this better forever, and just kind of feeling like they were up against a wall. And the other day, our residential project manager has told no one about this. Somebody else told me that he had created a Miro board version of a manpower board that had more than that information that we're talking about, like I just said, but like super easy to read, collaborative, stickies everywhere. All of his foremen are actively using it, and it was a freaking secret. Like, I was kind of mad. I'm like, you've got this amazing tool. The rest of our company is beating their heads against the wall, unable to figure out how to do this. So now we're taking this amazing win this guy has and figuring out how to transfer that out. But it was just such a huge win that not only did he think to create this, spent the time on creating it, on fixing it, on modifying it, brought in other people who then could make comments on its usability, all before he even started bragging about it. Like, he still hasn't bragged about it. It was just amazing to me. So anyway, that's my win, and kind of wanted to hear, if anybody else has some recent awesome wins with their workers coming up with, some lean ideas or lean options.
Awesome. Anyone else have any wins that they want to share?
I don't know if it's necessarily a win. It's not really someone coming up with anything, but we've done a couple actual in-person training exercises over the last month or two, and it's just been unbelievable to, like, I think we all knew the difference that in-person events and doing things together rather than virtually actually, like the real difference in that and how much more effective it is. But holy cow, was it like it's like night and day, and doing some training with a team and then having them do some planning in person. Like I said, not necessarily a surprising win, but after the last 2 years, almost refreshing kind of thing.
I totally agree with that. I had a joint health and safety committee meeting this morning, and after doing it virtually for the last couple of years and it taking 15 minutes and nobody really collaborated, today in person was an hour long and all really, really good feedback. It's like people just needed to see each other, right?
I mean, this is not a win itself on a kind of but as a philosophy, the whole premise of this is that the people that do the work are the best at figuring out solution to the problem that they experience. And there's some research, if you've ever read the book called The Machine That Changed the World, there's some data in there that shows that, like, we don't ask workers about anything in North America. We expect them to do their work, to we employ their hands and we employ their arms, whereas lean and what came out of Japan was tapping into people's intellects and giving time to workers, as you said, to actually do improvements. So it's part of their job description. If you look at any job descriptions that we have on any employment in North America, nowhere does it say in there, we expect you to take 5-10% of your time to figure out better ways to do things in our company. We don't expect that of the people. So just to switch that expectation, would generate a whole bunch of improvements in every companies that we run.
Awesome. So a quick vote, guys. Use your reactions whether you want to continue talking about this one and move on to the next topic. You could use reactions and I'll look up on the screen. Okay, looks like it's going to be the next one. The next topic is, I'll move over to talking. What are people having to do to adjust to lean to a hybrid work environment or hybrid workspace? Whose topic was this one?
That was mine.
Sure, Fraz, if you can kick it off and I'll start the timer.
Well, yes. So obviously, as restrictions have been lifted, people are getting to choose in some locations whether to go back part-time, full-time, or stay virtual. From my perspective, the hybrid model is challenging in that, you know, in a lot of our lean practices, we want to make things visual, and we want to share as much as possible. So just curious of how people are adapting and how do they make things visual when some people are there physically and some people are virtual.
Can you give us an example of a visual practice that you find difficult to do virtually, as an example?
Well, there's the obvious pull plan boards for certain projects that sometimes are done in, like, I have one project, we actually came together physically, did it with sticky notes on a wall, and then it's sort of, do we really want to virtualize it and transfer and sort of do the overproduction of making it virtual as well as physical? The other one I can think of is, you know, sharing personal Kanban boards. So if people are physical in the office and they do a physical Kanban board, how do we start to share what they're working on with people who are at home, working from home?
Even if you're doing like the physical pull plan, but there are people virtually attending, how do they see or B, participate? It's almost like they need a dedicated proxy to like walk around and move stickies on their behalf, which might not be effective way to have the pull plan running, because that would sort of take up someone's time to be that proxy and, you know, show with a camera what they're looking at and stuff. So yeah, that's a challenge. I am curious to hear how people are doing that as
well. From I mean, the value of if you just talk about pull planning, I always say that the plan is a byproduct. Like the purpose of pull planning is actually not planning; it's actually learning. And the reason why it works is because it together in one process connects with all types of adult learners, so tactical learner, visual learner, and auditory learner. And so there is a better value in being able to do this in person for the learning experience and the placing the tags so it fits in everybody's personal learning mode. From the time that the stickies are on the wall, there's two things that can happen. Number one, the plan is unreliable and you need to move sticky notes, or the plan is reliable and then you don't need to move sticky notes, right? So if the plan is reliable and you don't need to move sticky notes, then you can take a picture and everybody's got it on their phone, and that's usually, you know, you can see what people are doing, right? But if the plan isn't reliable and you have to move sticky notes, I think, like you can never eliminate all waste. It's just not possible. So you have to live with a trade-off between, you know, what is it that you're going to be wasting. And so for me to take the 1 hour to digitize the sticky notes, you know, one person 1 hour digitize the sticky notes is perhaps less waste in this particular circumstance than having 20 people driving 30 minutes to site every single week, right? Because then that's 10 hours of driving or self-transportation. So you're investing an hour in waste number A to reduce 10 hours in waste number B, and that's a decision that kind of needs to happen. So to me, digitizing is not necessarily waste. It depends on the context, I guess.
I would agree as well too with Dom. You know, you can't get rid of all the waste, and there's certain software that you could use that will make the digitization of your physical board easier, like Miro. If you take a picture, it'll capture and OCR all your sticky notes and make it virtual. And you may have to, depending on the type decide whether you're going to do it in person or virtual. And then you have 2 things that you can go through it. Quick vote, guys. Want to continue talking about this particular topic, or want to move on to the next one? Use the reactions, or put something in the camera so I know how to vote this one out. Okay, I'll put another 2 minutes on the 3 minutes on the clock here. And I also say this as well too. It's kind of cool if you're the facilitator, or if it's a small team of people facilitating that poll plan. Going through there and digitizing it allows you to have a chance to review over what was talked about and the promises in a way that you can have some reflection. And again, what Don was saying is that
I think maybe to stick with the whole planning side of it. You know, we've had some success with hybrid kind of systems. We've been working with a team in Toronto that they're just new. They haven't, the superintendent hasn't used last planner system before, and this is the first time he's using it. And he's got 6 weeks of physical boards in the trailer there, where he's using sticky notes. But what he has also been doing is, which is almost the counter to what you would almost think you'd want to do, is he's doing his phase pull meetings online using Miro. So he's using Miro to do the phase pull and have everybody do the high level plan, and then they're taking and transferring that into the weekly boards with sticky notes, and it's working quite well for them. You know, you can do the opposite as well. So I guess for me, it's, you know, whatever will work for the project team to get to the end result of what we're trying to actually accomplish. So whether it's completely in a digital format so that everybody can see it at all times, or whether it's a combination, or whether it's just plain old sticky notes, right? It's going to come down to what best works for each individual team, whether that's a project or something in the office, and being flexible enough to support that.
I heard a crazy story, and I can't remember where, but I'll share it with you. So, and I don't even know if it's a grand story, it doesn't matter. I heard of a team that had to deal with this situation and wanted kind of the in-person field of collaboration. And what they ended up doing was putting baby monitors in their trailers, and connected with their Wi-Fi and their apps on their phone, so everybody could see what was going on the board on a daily basis, to this like $100, $200 solution with baby monitors. I thought it was quite interesting.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, that's a crazy hack. I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
really neat idea.
So I think there's a bunch of teddy bears with like cameras stuck inside them.
Well,
Terrifying.
I don't know if they'd use teddy bears. Like, I would use an Elmo and a Cookie Monster personally, but you know, if you want to go to that extreme, or minions, right? They're probably easier to hide in a minion. But I thought it was a very cheap solution that works, and you can put 2 or 3 in the trailers if you want different angles and whatever, and that's not overly expensive.
Cool.
Yeah, because these days baby monitors are 2-way, not just 1-way. So you can talk to the monitor from a distance. Oh, that's a great idea.
We're at the voting session. Do you guys want to continue talking about this one, or thumb it down? All right, awesome. To the next one. The next topic is tips on training new members about lean. Whose topic was this particular one?
That was me.
Okay, go ahead and kick it off there, Eric.
I've noticed at GEM, we've kind of grown since we went through Lean, as well as we have a company that we kind of absorbed and are currently training. And Christina and I, when we're training them, often utilize Lean, and then we're finding ourselves having to explain some of the processes we're going through. And we've done some activities, like we did the paint the room activity with some new members, which some really liked and some really didn't, which I think happens a lot with the paint the room exercise. And yeah, I think
What's
there's
the
sometimes where
room
we assume
exercise?
they know something or understand a process when they actually don't. So yeah, we've used some of the old PowerPoints from FPT training with some of the new employees and employees of the other company that we work with. And I think sometimes it hits and other times it misses. So I was just curious if you guys had some tips on what you guys have done in your workplaces with new employees, teaching them on lean. So yeah, I was just curious on your guys' feedback.
Sorry, Eric, what's the paint the room thing?
I'll let Abel explain that because he's the pro on Paint the Room.
You just choose. I used to paint the room, but you choose a process that people are familiar with, and you just kind of go through what are all the different steps to deliver that process through, and then we all as a group decide, well, which steps are value add. Well, first we have to decide, like, what is the value add proposition of this process, and then we go through some training about, what is waste, what is process waste. And we kind of decide, well, which of these steps are value adding, which steps of these are non-value adding, which of these steps are non-value but necessary. And you just kind of visually map out that process. And then from there, we learn about the process. The stakeholders who are involved in the process are also part of that group. And we have a collaborative discussion about, how can we make this process a little bit better? How can we, deliver this value per the metric that we have in place, whether it's faster or better quality or less time involved, and then we kind of design a future state. And I usually use Paint the Room because they're either like a painting expert from watching a TLC episode, or they've had a painting room for whatnot on the construction side of things, or make pancakes or make toast is also another good one as well too.
But you don't physically paint the room.
Sometimes, no. We don't physically paint the room.
Well,
sorry, go ahead, sir.
As an ex-painter, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and hear what other people think are value added and non-value added parts of painting. That would be amazing. Anyway, sorry to derail you.
It's like a type of value stream mapping, Abel?
Yeah, it's like it's just a quick, dirty value stream mapping session.
Cool.
Eric, one thing that we do in our company that might help with it a little bit, but it wouldn't encompass sort of all the onboarding automatically, is once a week we have a lean check-in that just lasts 15 minutes. And it's not the whole company. We have it in 2 groups just to keep the group manageable. So there's maybe, 7 or 8 people in each group. And everyone just says what lean task did they work on last week and what they're going to work on. And it's good for the new people, because we have some people who are new who haven't gone through the training either. And so then at least they can hear what other people are thinking about and what the challenges are. So there's they can at least exist in that sort of the 2-second lean kind of realm and see it on that scale, even if they don't, have all the background and, get into the value stream mapping and stuff like that. But it at least helps people think about lean, on a regular basis if they don't yet have the, the full training. So.
I think that if you're showing up and providing information to people, I'm gonna say unannounced or without getting a request from people, you're like, I don't think there's any way to guarantee that every time you're gonna present your information, you're gonna get buy-in. I've made the presentation, this exact same presentation with the exact same joke, with the exact same material to 2 different group of the same people. I can pick superintendents, PM, or that doesn't matter. And I've received this is the greatest thing I've heard in the world, to this is complete bullshit, never call me again, with the same content. So at some point you got to say, okay, so it's not the content and it's not me, because I haven't changed from day 1 to day 2. So if you're not invited to present, and there's maybe a sign that there's either a lack of awareness or no interest. So that's kind of so I don't think you can get there all the time. And then to to add to Avel's painting. So the one thing I tried a couple times is the process that everybody can do on their own time if they kind of don't like to do things in public setting. Is you can say, you know, to exactly what Avel is doing with painting, but I've done from the what happens in the morning, because apparently everybody gets up in the morning and they go to work. I don't know about you, but I do it. But what do you do from the time that your alarm clock rings till the time that you sit in your car to drive to work? What are all the steps? Everybody's steps are unique, depending on the layout of their house. So you can teach them the waste, and you can get them to do the mapping in their own house, and you can give them challenges to say, well, how faster can you do this process, right? So that's some people like to learn on their own. So if the public setting is a bit frightening for people, you can try that.
I love
Like
that
that.
one, because then you're personally invested in leaning your process. That's a great example, Dom.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you go ahead.
Sorry, you go ahead, Dom.
Well, I was just gonna say I always had problems, showing up on time at work. So people who know me know I'm not a morning person. So I did the mapping the first time, and I said, well, it's 45 minutes, and it fluctuated between 40 to 50 minutes, and it basically depends on how much thinking I do as I am in the morning, right? But I boiled that process down to 14 minutes, right, by changing the sequence of what I do. So there's value there, I think, in people being able to see what is possible with this process, and that feels personal.
I like that a lot, because the paint the room, not often do people get to actually physically paint the room and then do it themselves. I like the hands-on aspect of that. So thanks, guys. That's really helpful.
I think there's another aspect to that too, where bringing people in and training them on a certain tool or process or whatever it might be. You can't sidestep the why. We have to teach people why this is important, why we're doing this, and try and add some context to it. Because I think if you just go, like, I can go and teach people how to use a tool, Last Planner or value stream mapping or whatever the case might be, but if they don't understand the why, then are they really invested in it? Do they really have an interest in what's going on? So I think you always have to try and bring in a bit of the higher level of why this is important and what is it doing to, help with our business. Because in the end, it's like taking someone on a job site, let's say, a coordinator, and saying, here's the spec book, go through there, find all the submittal items and create a submittal log, which is great. They can go and do that, but do they really understand why they're doing it, right? And I think that's a huge part of being able to keep people interested and get them to retain the information that you're trying to present to them, because then they can understand how it fits into the into the big picture.
Yeah, and I'm going to put an extra 3 minutes on the clock here, but at the end of the day, if you want to train your people for learning, we have to talk about, or for Lean, we have to increase the learning opportunities. Do it ad hoc, like Dom says. If you just, hey, come in there and talk about things, and also talking about what Brian says about what is the why or the intent, because we want to tap into the thinking of our team. There's a really cool video by David Marquette back in the day called Greatness. I'll put the link afterwards, but watch it. And it's how he turned like one of this really bad submarine into one of their kind of top performing submarine. And that was one of the first steps for trying to, increase that thinking or that learning environment. And whether it's lean or something else, that will create like fertile ground for whatever you want to do within your team to meet whatever milestone or challenge that your team is facing. Okay.
I'm a big proponent of just-in-time training as well, versus just bringing in a bunch of people and train. Like, hey, we've got this opportunity, let's train 30 people on something that they may or may not use within the next 6 weeks or 6 months. So if you do that, you got to be prepared that the people that aren't going to utilize that tool or whatever it is you're going to train, they're going to forget it, and you're going to have to redo it, and then you're into that that waste cycle. So, doing it when it's relevant and when it's going to be utilized, and if you can, coupling what you're learning with doing something. So let's do some training and then let's apply it right now.
Yeah, targeted training is the best. Like, everyone is facing problems right now, so go slow to go fast. Like, hey, okay, I know that we're hair on fire moment, but there's got to be a way for us to do this a little bit better, so we're not chasing our tails again tomorrow, right? It's really easy for us to go, okay, well, I'm going to defer this till later because of a variety of different things. I don't got time, or usually what it is that people, we're afraid of the bozos in the room who are going to like poop it down. And this is where you got to be fearless and try and find this, hey, let's slow it down. Let's make sure that this doesn't happen again, and do it in a very respectful way. Do it consistently, so they know that this isn't just like a flash in the pan, or this is just the thing that Eric is doing today. Then they'll start to get on board. Slowly create that culture of learning and thinking.
I like it. Thanks, guys.
All right. I'll put one more topic on the board, and then we're going to be at time because we started late, and we'll go to plus deltas. But this one here is tips on promoting trade partners to buy into lean construction and practices. Is kind of relevant still. But whose was this one?
That was mine.
All right, go ahead, James, kick it off.
Yeah, I can't see the board for some reason. I've lost my internet a couple times while we've been talking, but it seems like out here, it's just nobody's heard about it still, and I don't understand why. And it seems like whenever you talk to people about lean construction, obviously they think that they're going to lose their jobs for some reason, but you can get the field level to get going on it because you can have a one-on-one with them, but to get the management side on the same board or same level is just, it still seems obsolete. So I'm just curious if any of you guys have any tips or tricks to push it beyond the field, let's start backing it up into the management side and higher ups in that way.
That's interesting. I found the opposite, that it was harder, like lean has been harder to go from bottom up as it's intended than top down.
That's different.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
It seems, to me, it almost seems more like it gets pushed downward and say, oh yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that, but in all reality, we're not doing it. It's taken to the field side to get it to be reality. You know what I mean? Like I can name numerous trades that we've worked with, and they have no idea. And once you start working with them, their side of it they're not pushing it at all.
Oh, so you mean more like external than like internal management? Is that what you mean? Like trade partners not being on board? Yeah,
like when you get one going here and you're like, hey, well, what do you guys do about lean? And they just sit there with their eyes bugged out. They have no idea what you're talking about. They try to get it going they don't really support they'll say, yeah, but they actually don't support their field staff. I'm just trying to come up with ways that you can sort of at the contract side of it saying, hey guys, this is really an eye opener for you here and it really helps out. And
yeah, that's valid. Like we've had experiences with some like general contractors who are super lean minded, and like you said, they totally support their staff being a part of a lean culture on site. And then there's other GCs where you're like pulling teeth and even trying to lead by example and try to even bring them into lean. It's tough. I totally hear you, man.
Yeah, and there's got to be some tips in there too on top of it, I hope.
Shove it down their throats.
Well, I'm good on the field side. That's not hard. It's try and get that culture through the rest of the management side too on top of it, so that it becomes as one. It seems right now it's still stuck in the field level side of it. I'm in the field, so I see it.
I can tell you one example.
To our lean coffees.
What's that?
Yeah.
Invite them to the lean coffees.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't see too many superintendents in this right now, which is kind of blowing me away.
You know what? I did a waste walk on one of our bigger job sites. This is a couple of years ago, and I brought in the general contractor's supervision and their QC. And, you know, it didn't go, you know, as far as I would have wanted, but it at least gave them a taste of, you know, what we were trying to accomplish and what we were trying to change. So that was just one thing I tried.
Well, that
They
actually
were pretty open to it.
The one
That makes
thing I've
sense.
found is when people in the field have success and they have little wins, they're going to go back to their office and say, I don't care what you're saying, this works, I believe in it, I'm going to participate in it. The planning meeting every week is not an extra hour taking away of my time every week, it's saving time in other areas. And then they believe in it and they're the ones selling it and enforcing it to others. So sometimes, yeah, it won't start from the office side. You got to get those little wins and little buy-ins, because once they believe in it, then they'll support it, and then they'll go to their next job and be asking the GC superintendent, are we doing lean? Are we doing last planner? That's what we find is people believe in it and they're asking for it. So sometimes we have to pick away that way.
I-
Nice to do, and you don't have to say, "Are we doing lean?" It just comes naturally.
But they ask that
yeah.
way, like, because they get a taste of it. They want more. I'm basically a crack dealer here.
Yeah.
I'd say, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, even within any organization, that's the second larger general contractors that I get to work for, and like even within the company, you got a variety of people, and you got good jobs, and you got jobs where you can't get there, and so it's a bit of a dog's breakfast. So I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we'd say, you know, this company is doing it this way or this company is doing it this way. For you, James, I think there's a, you know, the other thing is that I make an analogy with is sports coaching, and the management team on site is not just meant of the superintendent and project manager. The management team includes the trades, the foremans of all the trades. And if we're going to coach the last planner system in the field, we need to coach the management team, which means all trade foremans. We can't just expect to. And the analogy that I make is if you don't have a coach behind the bench and you're training the captain of the hockey team, well, the captain is busy skating, and when the job gets in trouble, he's asked to jump on the ice and score a goal at 2 minutes before the game, right? So coaching and playing at the same time is very difficult. So there is value from having a coach. And there's a guy in your company, I think he's working in your corporate office somewhere. I think his name is Brian or something. You might want to give him a call. I don't know if he eats McDonald's and if he likes to go up in the Fort McMurray area, but
he does like McDonald's. Egg McMuffins are pretty good.
Oh, he likes. Oh, well, there you go. Then you got it.
Nice.
So we're at time, guys, and we're going to go to plus us. But I will say this to everyone, not just James: you will never ever get there. Having everyone that just keep striving towards it and be consistent, and just know that you're gonna see more fails than wins. But it's that one win that you get will keep it going for yourself and for your team. So key takeaways here. If you all kind of move here to the key takeaways, I'm looking for you guys can start generating Kanbans. And James, if you lost internet, you can always put it in the chat, and we can put that in there as well too. But what did you like about today's session? What would you like us to continue doing, or do you have an aha moment that you want to share with the team? And then Delta, what did you dislike about the session? When maybe perhaps to stop doing or to start doing? And we gave you guys a couple of minutes here on the clock to sit there and generate some plus deltas here. And if you can add them to the Kanban cards there. And if you don't have access to the mirror board, you can put them in the chat, and we can move them over into the chat as well too. So I'll use this time here to talk about that we will be posting this recording. And so our YouTube channel is here in the chat. You can look at this particular session, and you can look at other sessions that we've had before as well too. Please join, if you haven't already, our LinkedIn page, and you can learn about new and upcoming Lean Coffee sessions. And we also post different little tidbits here and there that are interesting to Lean in construction and Lean in general. But you can get a heads up on new and exciting Lean Coffee events. And I really promote that you guys sit there and share those out and cross-promote it. And remember, our next Lean Coffee is May 20th. Save the date. Make sure that you attend, and we'll be kind of going through the nuts and bolts of Lean and sharing a whole bunch of different stuff on that particular one. Okay, so we got a lot of plus deltas here. I'm looking for at least 2 pluses and 2 deltas. Are there 2 people who would like to share their plus deltas? Karen?
Sure. I actually only put a plus on, but I'll share it. I wrote about the icebreaker. So we don't always do that. And that was great because I got to know who was all on the call and what their backgrounds were. And I think that helped just understand where people were coming from when they were asking their questions or making their comments. So I know that when we did the in-person back in the before times, we always did the icebreaker, but we don't always do it in the virtual environment. So I like that.
Cool. Looking for someone else who would like to share their plus delta?
I just said I think it was a really good discussion. I like that we had a superintendent in the room, so that's the voice of reason. I don't know, the voice of reason. I've been screamed at by so many superintendents in my career that I've gotten to love the pain that those guys are going through on a day-to-day basis. The mix up in the link, I think everybody is aware of that, and for me the 9 o'clock start time is a little late, but that's just me.
No worries. Awesome. Thank you everyone for attending our Lean Coffee session. This Miro board will be live, and I'll leave it open. So if you wanted to check into it, I'll also be posting the YouTube channel as well too, so you can go back and watch it in the past. And again, watch other ones of our Lean Coffee sessions as well too. We went a little bit over time, but I want to make sure you all have a really safe and happy long weekend. And those of you who celebrated, happy Easter. And we'll be seeing you again May 20th. Thank you all from the Lean Community of Practice, and take care. Brian, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted, if I could just take 2 minutes, and I think you've got it pinned on the board there. As a heads up, because we're all in Edmonton, the International Group of Lean Construction Conference for 2022 is being held in Canada, and it's being held in Edmonton. This is something that will never come back to Edmonton, and it will be a long time before it comes back to Canada. So the University of Alberta is hosting. It is the week of July 25th. I know it's in summer and it's kind of not the greatest time, but if you have a chance to be able to get to a portion of this or all of it, it's going to be a great opportunity for Lean in not only Canada, but in Edmonton as well. So just as a heads up, registration just opened in the last couple weeks. So there's some info there, and that's the website. You can go check it out, but just to give a little bit of a plug for the U of A and what they're sponsoring, what they're doing over there.
And what CCA is doing, so you saw that there too, the June.
Yes. Yeah, so there's no official registration or anything for that, but in June, CCA is having a conference in Edmonton as well. It's going to be based on their best practice kind of model. So there's going to be design, build, and lean content in there. We don't really know anything other than that because this is the information that we pulled off their website. But just as a heads up that there will be something also in June here in Edmonton. So yeah, over the next number of months, we're gonna have some actual, national and international lean content in our city. So if you're able to attend, I would highly recommend it.
Edmonton is the center of the world for lean construction in 2022. Isn't that
It
one?
is.
You're gonna send the link, Brian, you said, or is it already in the chat? That one?
You can't see it. So James, you'll see it internally. I'm gonna send it.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in our internal Yammer pages.
Okay.
It's also on the Miro board as well too. I'll be pinned there afterwards. Thanks for reminding me about that, Brian. I forgot all about it.
You got it. That's all.
All right. On that note, everyone have a great and happy long weekend, and we will see you in a month. Bye, everyone.
See you later.
Everyone.